Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, of course, depending on where you hear my voice from. Yeah, today is the 5th of July 2025, and of course, I'm excited, super excited to come your way. I hope you're all doing good. Yes, good to know you're doing good. Good to know you are excited about stories about Biafra, about happenings in Biafra, and about the continued representation that Biafra continues to enjoy, especially within the Biafra superstars media. Yes, this is the Biafran Golden Child, and today I want to talk briefly, once again, bring back, make a brief, some remarks once again concerning, the massive victory recorded by Mazen Nnamdi Kanu in the Kenyan court. Yes, sometimes last week or thereabout, or last 2 weeks, when he had a resounding victory in Kenya, where the High Court in Kenya, in Nairobi, Kenya, delivered that the 2021 abduction and forced rendition of Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, as illegal and unconstitutional. Equally, the Justice E.C. Mwita was quick to say that, he condemned the arrest, detention, and subsequent transfer of Kanu to Nigeria without due legal process. And he described it as a gross breach of international and domestic human rights. Yes. Now, and as part of the ruling too, we heard that the court and ordered the Kenyan government to pay Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, 10 million Kenyan shillings, which is approximately 120 millions in compensatory damages for its role in the illegal operation. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we brought this ruling to your cognizance sometime last week. I think maybe last week or thereabout, or last 2 weeks. And we celebrated that judgment as very powerful, very prominent, and worthy of celebration in Biafra land. But of course, this title this morning is what are the repercussions? What are the implications of this judgment in Nigeria? I mean, what has it done to the Nigerian justice system? And of course, I'm happy to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that of course, this Nnamdi Kanu's victory in a Kenyan High Court has rattled the Nigerian justice system. You know, so let's look at it briefly. Let's talk about briefly. Give me your ears. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, when this judgment came out in Kenya, when Nnamdi Kanu won that victory, where the judge, condemned in very clear terms, in very unambiguous terms, the abduction, the kidnap, and eventual rendition of Kanu down to Nigeria. I mean, he said this kind of situation was totally against, constitutions of Kenya, constitutions of Nigeria, and internationally recognized conventions, and therefore that it was a very terrible, and totally unpalatable experience for Mazen Kanu. And of course, he was treated inhumanly. He was handcuffed. He was chained like a criminal. He was kept in an environment that were not fit for peace. And eventually, he was handed over to Nigerian authorities who broke aviation rules, internationally recognized standards of human interactions and trials, and they bonded him down to Nigeria. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is about the implications of this victory for Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, which we want to highlight here briefly. The truth of the matter is that several Nigerian political figures, including media personnel like Remo Mokri, like Fani Kayode, ex-while aviation minister, and several others, including of course prominent Nigerians, have come out to condemn the Kenyan ruling, saying that why would the Kenyan court, be so lousy? Why should they give this kind of favorable declaration? Why should they rule to the favor of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, knowing fully well that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu was currently undergoing trial in Nigeria, knowing fully well that this is a man who has made Nigeria totally ungovernable for several years, knowing fully well that this man is the leader of a secessionist group that has made Nigeria completely, unsafe to live in, knowing fully well that now the Kanu is a terrorist, and as Nigerian governments have insisted, why should the Kenyan authorities not only declare him, declare as illegal, and but equally mandating that the Kenyan authorities should pay him 120 million in compensation as damages. So a lot of them have come out to say, why? This case is in Nigerian court. You should have waited. You should have waited to know what the Nigerian government, not the Nigerian system, Nigerian justice system would proclaim. You should have waited for their judgment too. Why did you, suddenly jump out in such a bizarre manner, declaring this man's abduction, this man's rendition to Nigeria, illegal? Don't you know you are giving his defense attorneys more rooms, more opportunities, more grounds, yes, to now fight for his, immediate release, and and declare his trial null and void? Don't you know you have affected the Nigerian justice system? How could Kenyan legal authorities be so insensitive? Why did they do this? Who paid them? Why were they? Who brought this judgment about? What were the factors? Nigerian government should investigate who are funding the people who went for this judgment. How could Kanu, incarcerated in Nigeria, still have such an overwhelming influence in Kenya outside Nigeria? So, ladies and gentlemen, that's where it is. We told you about this sometime last week or last 2 weeks, and we told you it's a question of time. The Nnamdi Kanu's ordeals in the hands of Nigerian zoo government will be history. And that's what we mean when we now tell you what are the immediate and remote, uh, uh, implications of the judgment in Kenya. That's how it is, ladies and gentlemen. So let me begin by saying here, my fellow freedom lovers, let me begin by saying that from the Kenyan rulings and the verdict of conviction against Kenya as a whole for their untoward role, and very damnable role of facilitating, aiding and abetting Nnamdi Kanu's abduction and keeping him in solitude, solitude confinement, torturing him and denying him food and medication. That's a breach of basic rights. He was chained, humiliated, ridiculed, and held in contempt, and later forcefully removed from Kenya without following the law, in the violation of his rights and fundamental freedoms for which the government of Kenya is liable. Of course, when they declared this ruling, it means that the court, is equally indicting Nigeria. And of course, when Nigeria is indicted, and of course, judgment was given that his abduction and rendition from Kenya, was totally against, contemporary legal and human rights policies all over the world, even against the constitution of Kenya. It shows that Nigeria is still keeping him in custody. Nigeria is still keeping him in captivity. Nigeria is still trying him. Is completely null and void. They lack any legal justification for the continuous trial, because of course the Kenyan court in Kenya has adjudicated and ruled that even the methodology of kidnapping him back to Nigeria was fraught with illegalities. I mean, if the basic methodology of bringing him back to Nigeria, kidnapping him, handcuffing him, keeping him in deplorable conditions, and preventing him from having food and medication, and subjecting him to inhuman, abduction and kidnapping, has been declared in a high court in Kenya as illegal, as wicked, and against contemporary world legal practices, world accepted practices. That means ab initio, there's no case against Nnamdi Kanu in Nigeria. That means the Nigerian government should have quickly wash their hands like Pilate, like Pontius Pilate, and say, no, 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 we rid ourselves of this man. Let him go before the international court gets to us. Because, of course, the international court is aware any ruling anywhere is properly scrutinized by the international court, especially when it has to do with abuse of the fundamental human rights of, people, of personalities. So Nigerian government are a bit shaky now. They are rattled and they are looking for a way out. But there's no easy ways. No easy ways for the zoo. There's no easy ways because the whole world is aware. The Kenyan case has gone into, legal literature of all around the world on the violations of human rights, on the, abduction and the rendition of people from one country to another. Of course, they have seen that this did not follow commonly accepted principles of, human engagement. And so Nigerian government is jittery. Yes, they are not sleeping. I want to assure you, they are not sleeping pretty. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know Justice James Omotosho is aware of this judgment. Of course, he knows that everything they are doing now is just a matter of time, and the world will clamp on them. The International Court of Justice will clamp on them. The United Nations Committee on Human Rights will clamp on them. It's just a matter of time. The 47th President of the United States will clamp on them. Already Mr. Donald Trump, United States President, has issued a mandate. Yes, Donald Trump has issued a mandate to the Nigerian government, to fast forward, to quicken, and to completely be, dispense with this so-called trial, this orchestrated trial of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. They have told them it's about time you do the right thing. We are tired. We are tired of listening to the agitations of the Biafras. We are tired that every other day Dr. Ngozi Raboeze, the Deputy Prime Minister of the United States of Biafra, is sending us petitions upon petitions. She has our ears. We know what she's saying. And we have looked into our matter and discovered they are just, they are real. And of course, they are really, really what's happening in Nigeria. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring to your notice that this powerful judgment, landmark judgment in Kenya, has become the final arbiter. It's going to be the Waterloo for the zoo government in Nigeria. Most of you didn't take that landmark judgment seriously, because of course I was surprised that no much comments came out of it. Nobody was clapping. People were not shouting. Biafra should be celebrating that. When we give you news about people in Biafra, when we tell you about happenings in Biafra, we expect you to come, to get agog, to be in ecstasy, because we are winning. The God that we serve is awake. We are serving a living God. Yahweh is to us. And that is why everywhere, both locally and internationally, that Biafra is mentioned, you begin to see an instantaneous, unexpected victory for the personalities involved. Ladies and gentlemen, did it not surprise you that despite the incarceration of our able Prime Minister Simon Ekpa in late November 2024, did it not surprise you that Dr. Ngozi Raboeze, former Chief of Staff and Deputy Prime Minister, was able to rally around, was able to organize the coalition, the symposium, the convention in Leti, Finland, and still they redeclared United States of Biafra on December 2nd, 2024. You think it's an ordinary thing that a leader was incarcerated, arrested, was being tried, and then another his deputy came up and was able to redeclare the United States of Biafra. It's no mean feat, ladies and gentlemen. I expected Biafrans all over the world to be celebrating. We should be celebrating, and that is enough to instill in us the confidence, the boldness, the much needed vigor and vitality to move Biafra forward. It hurts me, ladies and gentlemen, that when we do these audios here, we see a sort of reluctance of people, to listen to our audios. We see a sort of, people are not, they are neither here nor there. They are lukewarm. Well, you should either be hot, you should either be cold. The idea of lukewarm is totally unacceptable. We want people that think of Biafra, that talk Biafra, that breathe Biafra, to be enthusiastic. We are not a second class people. We know where, as far as Biafra is concerned, we are winning. We are winning, and we are forward, forward, forward looking. I don't know why the enthusiasm does not. I want the enthusiasm to move from me to you. That's what I want. Yes, I want the enthusiasm to flow from me down to you, to flow from the Biafra Superstars Media down to you, because we are winning. If you know where we started from, if you know this incident that brought up about Biafra Civil War, there's no need recapitulating it again. I've said it several and severally. But when you remember what happened to your brethren, your kith and kin, your grandfathers, your great grandmothers, when you remember what happened to your uncles, when you remember what happened to some of us, when you remember what kwashoko is. Some of you don't know what kwashoko is. You are born in the middle of plenty, in the midst of plenty. But there was a time children were dying. They came up in very comic appearances, massive head, protruding tummies, tiny legs and hands, with all their ribs, all the rib cage showing. You could literally touch their rib cages. You could touch their esophagus. You could touch all the spinal cord. You could see the bones as if they were just wearing a transparent body. Because why? They had no access to food. Even the food that came lacked nutrition. Why did this happen? Because the Nigerian government blockaded both the air routes, the sea routes, and the ground route, the land routes, and prevented help from every nook and corner, either from the air, from the sea, from the land. And rather than get help, what they were getting was bombardment, daily bombardment. Yes, shootings, bombings, and all kinds of, warfare, wickedness. Yes, you don't get it. Our people, a genocide was declared about our people. That's what Biafra is. Our people had to scamper for safety. They chased us away. They pushed us right into our very locality, and they continue to undermine us, to delete us, to harm our women, rape our women, gang rape our women. They performed experiments with our pregnant sisters and mothers, dissecting their tummies and disfiguring the fetus. If it's not what anybody laughs about. And so when we talk here, we tell you what Biafra is, we tell you our experiences. I was born at that time. This man speaking to you, by the very sincerity of my nature, I hate this country called Nigeria, because of course it subjected me and my family to the worst nightmare possible. The woman gave birth and was immediately deleted. The son had nothing to look up to. I mean, he couldn't suck his late mother's breast. Was it his grandmother who had passed childbearing age? Who was a grandmother? The son was fed with yam. They said it was yam. Every other time, yam tubers were peeled, boiled, and forced into his mouth because there was nothing else. In fact, somebody told me, you are even lucky to be tall. You're 5'8". You're lucky to be tall because a child who was fed yam for the first between 19. Oh my God, do I need to continue to say these things? I was fed yam back to back for over 3 years, plucked into my mouth, forced in, and no teeth, no nothing. You compress it with your mouth, and then you swallow it. That was what kept me alive. And of course, later when they started carrying rodents, who are you to get a big rat? Who are you? Oh my God, crickets, what they called intended. People was looking for what to eat. But of course, this was what killed the children. Over 4 million people died in Biafra. So when we talk about Biafra agitation, a lot of people are saying, what are they talking? Every other day, they are surging our ears with this Biafra. Yes, we're doing it because we are victims. We don't want you to be victims. We don't want this generation to suffer what we suffered when we entered this world. Yes, the Sioux government treated us with the greatest level of hatred upon hatred. They despised us. Even the breath we take, if they had the opportunity, oh my God, if they had the opportunity, they would have stopped us from breathing. That was the level of hatred they had for the Biafran people. And so when we talk about Biafra, when we talk about personalities of Biafra, when we talk about achievements, when we talk about sacrifices people make for Biafra, when we talk about the unfortunate trials of our prominent leaders in Biafra, people just look at us and walk past, jump and pass. You see audio like this, instead of you to listen and learn, you jump and pass. You see videos, rather than watch, you jump and pass. That shouldn't be it. That means we're not communicating. You must be interested in the culture, the history of the people. There was a time, the Biafrans lost 5 million, close to 5 million people in an unjust war, for an unjust cause, because they were suspected. They were suspected to be the brains behind the 1966 coup. They were suspected, to be the ones who spearheaded the killing, assassination of the Southern then, Madu Bello. They were suspected of being the ones who were the, brink, who were the ones who motivated the killing of Tafawa Balewa, the former Prime Minister of Nigeria. And of course they felt, why did you not kill Igbo leaders? If this coup was just, why didn't you kill Dr. Nnamdi Kanu? Why didn't you kill Dr. Michael Opara? Why are these people still alive? You could have killed them. Why is it that it is only? See, it's just unfortunate. These people with a myopic brain. These people who the only thing they have is this mantra that they are born to rule. These people who have continued to foment problem since the amalgamation in 1914 and even up to years after independence in 1960. They have continued to hold power, saying, declaring with all level of, without shame, without any level of pretext. They come out openly, flagrantly declaring that they are born to rule. They are the ones who should determine the political landscape of this country. Yes, they believe they have the power, they have the might, and of course the security architecture of this country is in their hands. They can bring in Boko Haram at any time. They can send in Lakarawa at any time. They can influence this Fulani jihadists to continue to cause mayhem in the name of moving cattle around, nomadic life. They said the whole of Nigeria was theirs. All the lands, everything belonged to them. So anywhere the Fulani cattle areas come and decide to rest, they should be granted rest. Our people are taking these things, as though it is mere child's play. But these were the things, these were the immediate and remote causes of why we lost close to 5 million between 1966, 67, 68, 1969, 1970. It's a shame, and it's still continuing, because up to these days, all the roads leading to the southeast, every 200 meters there's a checkpoint where you see, guerrilla-looking security agents stopping you and asking you, who are you? Where are you going? Where are you from? Let me see your phone. Are you one of those Biafra agitators? Let's see, do you have anything on Biafra on your phone? Why are you wearing a Biafra t-shirt? Why are you wearing why is this Biafra flag in your car? Come out from the car, let us know who you are. Search him. Because you're from Biafra. You're going home from other regions, they stop you and ask you why you're traveling. Are you going because you want to go and foment trouble? Are you an organ harvester? Are you a kidnapper? I mean, you're talking to a highly educated gentleman. You're talking to somebody who is an employer of labor, employing close to maybe 50 people in different segments of this economy. And you're asking him, why? Come out from the car, I want to see your phone. Show me your laptop. Oh, that's his laptop. Let's see his laptop. This is continuing even in 2025. A lot of my friends have told me that they are very worried. Most of them have deceased relatives in the morgues, in the mortuaries. And they told me they are very reluctant to go and do the burials because they don't know what it's going to look like because of the level of insecurity in the land. The level of insecurity, especially in the southeast. And what pains me is our governors, our political leaders are playing I don't care. These are people before they got into power, before they were elected. They knelt down, they begged the populace, they promised heaven on earth. They assured us of the highest level of security in the land. They told us they're not coming to pretend over you. I want to come and serve you. The moment they get the power, the moment they get elected, they change like a chameleon. Of course, they change overnight and begin to bully every other person. They begin to, or they change on their phones. Of course, you can't have access to somebody you once were interacting with, somebody who was once your associate. They change, and all of a sudden now, the grace is 2027. How and when to declare for the APC? How to show the Jagaban that I'm for him? How to prove to the Jagaban that I will deliver 5 million march? I will give him 5 million people from my locality. I mean, as our leader has gone mad, is this what we expect? I mean, none of them is talking about Biafra. None of them is talking about Nnamdi Kanu and his trial. None of them is actually, sincerely, insisting and demanding for justice and for his immediate, release. Freedom. No, all of them are playing lip service. They are all thinking 2027. You're elected for 4-year tenure since 2023. This is 2025. You have not even completed 2 years, and you are thinking 2027. It's a big shame, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know where we're headed, but I thank God. I thank God that the redeclared United States of Biafra is the answer. The redeclared United States of Biafra is our only hope. That's the only hope for freedom. That's the only hope to take care of these useless, vagabond, reprobate leaders. Leaders who pretend to be for us, but at night they change their clothes, they change their bodies, and they become wolves. They become, puppeteers. They become puppets for the Jagaban and his group. Everybody's fighting for 2027. Nobody's thinking about July 2025. It's a sad one. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, this High Court in Kenya and the success, yes, success and declaration of the ruling that Nnamdi Kanu was whatever Kenya did to aid and abet his arrest, his abduction, and his kidnap down to Nigeria. What they call rendition is totally unjust and, of course, undeserving. Therefore, Kenya's the Kenyan government has been fined to pay, a compensation of 120 million to Nnamdi Kanu for their just and wicked, assistance to the Nigerian government, to kidnap him down to Nigeria. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, I said the implications for the Nigerian court is, if they have their sense now, if they have their sense right, to do the needful, to release him unconditionally. Otherwise, the hammer of justice, both from the International Court, both from the European Union, both from the African Union, both from the OAU, and of course, under the vigorous, the highly powerful vision of the 47th President of the United States, Donald Trump, Mr. Donald Trump. They will hear it from there. Ladies and gentlemen, it's just a matter of time. But we know these days are pregnant. These days are pregnant. These days are pregnant for you. We declare United States of Biafra, because we know things are about to happen. Yes, things are about to happen. Yes, take it or leave it. Good things are about to happen. And these things, when it happens, it will take the USB, United States of Biafra, to heights never imagined, even before 1967, 1968, 1970, civil wars. Our late leader, Demo Demoko Ojukwu, will soon be smiling his grave, because he started what he started is hereby gradually growing. The seed he planted is growing into a mustard seed. gigantic, massive, occupying everywhere. United States of Biafra is a success. I promise you. God bless you all.
Biafra must be restored, for there is nothing the enemies can do about it. You brought Biafra that light may come into Africa. You gave us hope because we are in a continent of hopelessness. And by thy grace, Biafra shall be restored. We shall be resurrected. We shall crown our efforts with the glory by the grace of the Most High Himself. We are not strong. We do not pretend to be strong. All we do is to submit ourselves to your will, that your will may be done upon our lives. We have lost many people. We have lost so many good people. Their sacrifice will never be forgotten. We shall honor them, and for their sake Biafra will come. Because we are wandering all over the world, hoping against every hope that things will turn around for the better. It has never turned around for the better. Instead, it is getting worse. Please do not abandon your children. You have given us a commission, and we must accomplish it in our lifetime. Our enemies are equally important because they must listen. Those who do not love the truth must listen. Those who are beholden to darkness, they must also listen. For we are here to bring light upon a very darkened continent without Biafra. Africa is nothing without Biafra. There is no difference between a black man and a wild animal in the forest. We say every shred with every ounce of conviction. I welcome each and every one of you. If you're joining us for the very first time, this is Radio Biafra. This is how we do it. We magnify the name of the Most High before we do anything. That is why we are exceptionally formidable. That is why